All right. Next part we are going to discuss is the muscle that drives our breathing. We have two sets of muscles that play a role in our breathing. One is the primary driver, and the other plays a more active role when we are exerting ourselves. The primary muscle of breathing is known as the diaphragm. So, as you recall, it's that dome shaped one that comes beneath. When we look at it from the side, we can also see it. It's kind of depicted as this black dotted line. Then we have these intercostals that are in between our ribs. And as I mentioned, these play a more active role during exertion. So you go out for a run, and that's when these really become useful. But as we're sitting there right now, our diaphragm is doing the majority of the work as far as our breathing goes. When our diaphragm contracts, it pulls the lungs down. And then when our intercostal muscles contract, they kind of pull the lungs up and outward, giving them a little bit larger of a diameter. We can take a look at these x-rays and actually see how there is a change in the size of the lung. So we look here. The lung tissue is depicted by the black space. Our lung tissue is translucent and doesn't really show up on x-ray very well unless there was a contrasting material placed inside of the lung. When our diaphragm is relaxed, and you can kind of see the border of it right here, our lungs are small. And we'll talk about why the difference in size of the lungs is important. Then, when we take a deep breath in, here's our diaphragm. Now, it's pulled down, and see how much space the lungs take up now. And that allows air to flow nice and smooth in. Breathing or inhaling is known as an active process. Our body is performing work in order to bring air into our lungs. When we are exhaling, that is known as a passive process because these muscles are simply relaxing. There is no work necessary for us to bring air out of our body. The important change that occurs when our lungs go from small in volume to larger in volume is changes in pressure. In order for air to flow smoothly from the outside here down into the lungs, we have to change the pressure in our thoracic cavity. When we inhale, so let's look at this picture right now. When we inhale, our diaphragm contracts, helps create this extra space for the lungs. But another thing that occurs is that the pressure inside of the thoracic cavity decreases relative to atmospheric pressure. This allows the air from the outside of our body to flow easily down into our lungs for gas exchange. When we exhale, so the diaphragm moves up, kind of creates a smaller space that the lungs take up, this increases the thoracic pressure compared to the atmosphere, which allows the air inside of our body to overcome this force in order for it to be removed from the body. So remember, inhalation causes a decrease in intrathoracic pressure, causing air to flow in. Exhalation increases the intrathoracic pressure, allowing air to flow out. Second, the other important thing you need to know, when the diaphragm and the intercostals contract, our intrathoracic pressure decreases associated with inhalation. Then when our diaphragm and intercostals relax, intrathoracic pressure increases, causing air to flow out.